The Discovery Scout Captain Vren had served in the Korthax reconnaissance fleet for 23 cycles. He had mapped uncharted nebulas, surveyed primitive worlds, and slipped past enemy patrols without detection. His ship, the Silent Observer, was designed for one purpose: to see without being seen. The vessel's black hull absorbed sensor beams like a void. Its engines ran so cold that most species would mistake it for a drifting asteroid. Vren took pride in his work. Information won wars before the first shot was ever fired. Today should have been routine. The Silent Observer drifted through the border region between Korthax space and human territory. The humans were new to interstellar politics, barely 2 centuries since their first FTL drive. Korthax intelligence classified them as a minor concern. Their technology was primitive. Their military was small. They posed no threat to the Korthax Dominion's expansion plans. Vren stood in the center of his bridge, watching the star field through the main viewport. His second officer, Kelthrin, worked quietly at the sensor station. The rest of the crew performed their duties with practiced efficiency. Everything was normal. Everything was calm. Then Kelthrin made a sound that Vren had never heard from her before, a sharp intake of breath, almost like fear. "Captain," she said. Her voice carried an edge that made every crew member turn toward her. "I'm detecting unusual readings. Sector 793, multiple gravitational distortions." Vren moved to her station. "Show me." The holographic display flickered to life. Waves of spatial distortion rippled across the screen. Something massive was moving through space, bending reality around it. The pattern suggested multiple large objects traveling in formation. "How many?" Vren asked. Kelthrin's fingers danced across her controls. Numbers scrolled past. Her eyes widened. "Captain, I'm reading. I count at least 150 distinct signatures. Possibly more. The readings are very strong. 150 ships." Vren felt his stomach tighten. No one operated fleets that size in this region. The border zones were supposed to be quiet. Small patrol groups, maybe a merchant convoy or two. This was something else entirely. "Identify them," Vren ordered. The tactical officer, Dorvan, worked his station with quick, precise movements. He pulled up identification protocols and ran the signatures through their database. When he looked up at Vren, his face had gone pale. "They're humans, sir." The bridge fell silent. Every crew member stopped what they were doing. They all stared at Dorvan, then at Vren. Humans. The word seemed impossible. Vren knew about humans. Every officer in the Korthax fleet studied them. They were the newcomers, the primitives who had stumbled into galactic politics barely knowing how to build a proper starship. Korthax intelligence had detailed files on human capabilities. Their ships were slow. Their weapons were basic kinetic projectiles and missiles. Their FTL technology was inefficient and limited. A human vessel took weeks to travel distances that Korthax ships covered in days. But 150 ships changed everything. "Verify those readings," Vren said. His voice remained steady, but his mind was racing. "Run a full diagnostic on all sensors. Make sure we're not seeing ghosts." Kelthrin ran the diagnostics. Dorvan cross-referenced the data from 3 different sensor arrays. The science officer, Old Prethus, analyzed the readings using every method he knew. They all came back with the same answer. The readings were accurate. 150 human vessels. All of them were moving through space in perfect military formation. "This doesn't match our intelligence reports," Dorvan said quietly. "Our data says humans have maybe 40 warships total, and those ships are supposed to be outdated compared to ours." Vren studied the sensor display. The gravitational distortions were massive. Whatever was creating them had to be enormous. "Move us closer. Engage full stealth protocols. I want to see exactly what we're dealing with." The Silent Observer was built for exactly this kind of mission. The crew activated every stealth system the ship possessed. The bridge lights dimmed to almost nothing. The engine output dropped to barely a whisper. Even the power signatures from life support were masked and scattered. The ship became a ghost, a shadow, invisible to almost any sensor in known space. They moved toward the human fleet slowly and carefully. Vren felt his heart beating faster. Something about this situation felt wrong. Humans weren't supposed to have fleets this size. They weren't supposed to be operating this far from their territory. Intelligence had assured the Dominion that humanity would remain a minor power for at least another century. As they drew closer, the sensor readings became clearer and more detailed. Kelthrin gasped. She stared at her screen like she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Captain, these readings. They can't be right. Vren moved to stand beside her. He looked at the data flowing across her display. What he saw made his blood run cold. The human ships were enormous. The largest vessels were 4 times the size of Korthax dreadnoughts. Their power signatures were beyond anything in the Dominion's arsenal. The sensors showed energy readings that should have been impossible for ships that size. Advanced fusion cores, quantum processors, weapon systems that generated more power than entire Korthax battle groups. Check again, Vren said. These readings have to be wrong. But they weren't wrong. Kelthrin ran the scans 3 more times. Preethus verified the data using independent systems. Dorvin analyzed the signatures from every angle he could think of. The answer was always the same. The human fleet was more advanced than anything the Korthax possessed. How is this possible? Kelthrin whispered. Our intelligence said they were decades behind us. Maybe a full century behind. These ships, Captain, they're more advanced than our newest prototypes. Vren watched the human fleet move across his screen. The ships traveled in perfect formation, moving together with precision that spoke of extensive training and experience. Every vessel had a specific position. Every position provided mutual support to the others. If someone attacked this fleet, they would face coordinated fire from multiple angles simultaneously. It would be a slaughter. Look at their formation pattern, Dorvin said. He highlighted the fleet arrangement on the tactical display. This is advanced military doctrine. Very advanced. See how they've positioned their heavy cruisers, the destroyer screen, the support vessels. This formation is designed to counter multiple attack vectors at once. We only see this kind of tactical thinking from species with thousands of years of warfare experience. Vren studied the formation carefully. Dorvin was right. Every ship was positioned with expert precision. The humans had arranged their fleet like master strategists. This wasn't the work of a primitive species stumbling through space. This was the work of people who understood war at a fundamental level. Where are they heading? Vren asked. The navigation officer, young Telson, plotted their course. A red line appeared on the star map, cutting through space toward the inner systems of Korthax territory. They're heading toward the Omega Cluster, sir. That's deep inside our space. Multiple colony worlds, strategic mining operations. If they reach the cluster, he didn't need to finish. Everyone on the bridge understood the implications. The Omega Cluster was vital to the Dominion's economy and military infrastructure. If the humans attacked it, they could cripple Korthax power in this entire sector. Vren felt anger mixing with his fear. The humans were invading. They had built this massive fleet in secret, and now they were coming for Korthax worlds. This was an act of war. But something didn't make sense. If the humans wanted to invade, why move so openly? Why use a fleet this large? A smaller strike force could have slipped through the border defenses undetected. This fleet was impossible to hide. Every sensor station within 100 light-years would see them coming, unless they wanted to be seen. The thought sent a chill down Vren's spine. What if this was a show of force? What if the humans were demonstrating their power deliberately? Prepare a priority transmission to High Command, Vren ordered. Include all sensor data. Everything we've collected, they need to know about this immediately. The communications officer, Selira, worked quickly. She compiled the data into an encrypted package. All the readings on the human ships, their formation, their course, their capabilities. Everything that might help High Command understand what the Dominion was facing. Transmission ready, Captain. Send it. Maximum encryption. Priority Alpha. The message burst out through quantum channels. It would take time to reach High Command across the vast distances of space, but they needed to know. The entire Dominion needed to know. The Korthax had ruled this region of space for 5,000 years. They had conquered dozens of species. They had crushed rebellions and destroyed rivals. They were the dominant power in this part of the galaxy. No one challenged them successfully, but now there was humanity. And humanity had teeth. What do we do now, Captain? Kelthrin asked. Vren looked at the human fleet displayed on his screen. 150 ships, each one more powerful than anything the Korthax could build. All of them heading straight for Dominion territory. We follow them, he said. We maintain full stealth. We gather every piece of information we can, and we don't let them know we're here. The crew nodded. They understood their mission. The silent observer was the Dominion's eyes and ears. Everything depended on them providing accurate intelligence. The ship fell into position behind the human fleet, staying far enough back to avoid detection, but close enough to monitor their every move. Hours passed. The human ships maintained their course with mechanical precision. No deviations, no hesitation. They moved through space like they owned it. Vren stood on his bridge, watching and waiting. His mind worked through countless scenarios. What would High Command do when they received his message? They would have to respond. A fleet this size was an existential threat. The Dominion would assemble their own forces. There would be a battle. Maybe the largest battle in Korthak's history. Could they win? Vren looked at the sensor readings again. The power signatures, the advanced technology, the perfect tactical formations. He wasn't sure. For the first time in his career, Scout Captain Vren wasn't sure the Korthak's Dominion could win. "Captain," Preethus called out, "I've been analyzing their engine signatures. The humans are using some kind of advanced antimatter containment system. The efficiency it's far beyond our theoretical models. Sir, if these readings are accurate, a human ship could travel twice as fast as our fastest vessels while using half the fuel." The implications were staggering. The humans didn't just have better weapons and bigger ships. They had better engines, better computers, better everything. Where had this technology come from? How had they advanced so quickly? 2 centuries ago, humans were still learning to build basic fusion drives. Now they had technology that made the Korthaks look primitive. "Keep monitoring," Vren ordered. "I want continuous data on everything. Their power fluctuations, their communication patterns, anything that might give us an advantage." The crew worked in focused silence. They gathered data constantly, building a comprehensive picture of the human fleet one byte at a time. Kelthrin approached Vren privately. She spoke quietly so the rest of the crew wouldn't hear. "Captain, I have a question. Speak. What if they know we're here?" Vren looked at her sharply. "Our stealth technology has never failed. The humans have basic sensors. They can't detect us." "But sir," Kelthrin said carefully, "what if their sensors aren't basic anymore? What if everything in our intelligence reports is wrong?" It was a terrifying question. Vren looked at the human fleet again. They moved through space with absolute confidence, powerful, unstoppable, completely sure of themselves. "Then we're in more trouble than anyone realizes," Vren said quietly. The hours stretched into days. The silent observer followed the human fleet like a shadow through the void. They collected massive amounts of data. The more they learned, the more concerned they became. The human ships had artificial intelligence coordination systems. That was forbidden by multiple galactic treaties. AI warfare systems had nearly destroyed the galaxy 3,000 years ago. Every civilized species had agreed never to use them again. But the humans either didn't know about the treaties or didn't care. Their weapons were equally disturbing. They had plasma cannons that could melt through Korthak's armor. They had missile systems with adaptive targeting that made them almost impossible to intercept. They had energy weapons based on principles that Preethus couldn't even identify. On the second day, Celira received a response from High Command. "Captain, incoming transmission. Highest level encryption." Vren took the data tablet and read the message. His expression grew darker with each line. High Command was taking the threat seriously. They were assembling a battle fleet, 200 warships, the largest military response in Korthak's history. They would intercept the human fleet at the Omega Cluster in 8 days. The message included updated orders for the silent observer. Maintain surveillance at all costs. Do not engage. Do not reveal position. The success of the entire operation depended on the humans not knowing that the Korthaks were aware of their invasion. Vren put down the tablet. 200 Korthaks warships against 150 human vessels. Would it be enough? He looked at his crew. They were tired. 2 days of constant monitoring had exhausted them. But they were professionals. They would do their duty. "Continue surveillance," Vren ordered. "Stay alert. We're all that stands between the humans and a surprise attack on our homeworlds." The crew acknowledged and returned to their stations. The silent observer continued its silent pursuit through the darkness of space. But deep in his mind, Vren kept thinking about Kelthrin's question. What if they know we're here? What if they've known all along? The human fleet moved ahead of them through the stars. Confident, powerful, unstoppable. And somewhere in the back of Vren's mind, a small voice whispered that maybe, just maybe, the Korthak's Dominion had made a terrible mistake. The shutdown, the third day of surveillance, began like the others. Scout Captain Vren stood on the bridge of the Silent Observer, watching the human fleet maintain its steady course toward Korthak's territory. His crew worked their stations with quiet efficiency. Everything seemed normal. Everything seemed under control. Then the first warning appeared. "Captain," Kelthrin said from her sensor station, "I'm getting an unusual reading. Some kind of electromagnetic pulse. Very faint. It's coming from the human fleet." Vren moved to her station. "What kind of pulse?" "I'm not sure, sir. It's not a weapon signature. It's more like a scan, but it's using frequencies I've never seen before. Very high band, cycling through multiple spectrums." Dorvin looked up from tactical. "Could they be searching for something?" "Possibly," Kelthrin said. She adjusted her instruments, trying to analyze the signal. "But sir, these frequencies, they're specifically designed to penetrate stealth technology. It's like they're looking for cloaked ships." A cold feeling settled in Vren's chest. "Are we compromised?" "I don't think so, sir. Our stealth systems are still functioning normally. All parameters are within acceptable ranges. We should still be invisible. Should be." The words hung in the air like poison. Vren had built his entire career on certainty, on knowing that his ship could slip past any sensor net in known space. But now there was doubt. "Increase our distance," Vren ordered. "Put another 50,000 kilometers between us and them, and boost our stealth field by 10%. The helmsman complied. The Silent Observer drifted further back, putting more space between them and the human fleet. The crew worked in tense silence. Everyone felt it now. The sense that something was wrong. An hour passed. Then another. The electromagnetic pulses from the human fleet continued, growing gradually stronger. Kelthrin tracked them carefully, analyzing every variation and frequency shift. "Captain," she said finally, "the pulses are getting more focused. They're narrowing their search pattern. Sir, I think they're triangulating on something." "On us?" Vren demanded. "I can't be certain. But the pulses are concentrating in this general area of space. It's possible they've detected some anomaly. Maybe a gravitational shadow or a thermal signature we're not masking properly." Prithis left his science station and came to examine Kelthrin's data. He studied the readings carefully, his old eyes narrowing. "Captain, this is sophisticated electronic warfare." "Very sophisticated. The humans are using adaptive scanning techniques that I've only seen in theoretical papers. They're cycling through thousands of frequencies per second, looking for any irregularity in the background radiation of space." "Can they find us?" Vren asked. Prithis hesitated. "Our stealth technology is excellent. The best the Dominion has ever built. But sir, if the humans have sensors this advanced, if their scanning technology is this refined, I can't guarantee we're invisible to them." Vren felt his hands clench into fists. 23 cycles of service. 23 cycles of successful reconnaissance missions. And now for the first time he wasn't sure his ship was safe. "Options," he said. "We could withdraw," Dorvin suggested. "Pull back beyond their scanning range. We've already gathered extensive data. High Command has enough information to work with." "Or we could maintain position," Kelthrin countered. "We don't know for certain that they've detected us. These pulses might be routine security sweeps. If we break off now, we might miss critical intelligence about their attack plans." Vren considered both options. His orders were clear. Maintain surveillance at all costs. The Dominion needed continuous intelligence on the human fleet. But his first responsibility was to his crew. If the ship was compromised, staying here was suicide. Before he could decide, the main console emitted a sharp warning tone. "Navigation system anomaly," Telson reported. His voice was tight with concern. "I'm showing fluctuations in our positioning matrix. Small errors in our coordinate calculations." "Explain," Vren said. "I'm not sure, sir. It's like something is interfering with our nav computer. The errors are tiny, just a few decimal points off, but they're there. And they're getting worse." Another warning tone. This one from tactical. "Weapon system showing irregularities," Dorvin said. "Targeting computers are running diagnostic loops. They keep resetting themselves." Vren moved to the center of the bridge. His mind raced through possibilities. "Prithis, could this be related to those electromagnetic pulses?" The science officer was already running analysis. His fingers flew across his console. "Possibly, sir. If the humans are using some kind of broad-spectrum jamming in addition to their scanning, yes, that could interfere with our systems. But our shielding should protect us from external electromagnetic interference." "Should," Vren said. "That word again." What if their jamming is more advanced than our shielding was designed to handle? Preethus looked up. His old face was pale. Then we have a serious problem, Captain. More warning tones. They came faster now, from multiple stations across the bridge. Life support showing pressure fluctuations, the environmental officer reported. Communications array is experiencing packet loss, Salira said. I'm getting corruption in our quantum encryption protocols. Sensors are drifting out of calibration, Kelthrin added. I'm losing resolution on the human fleet. The bridge lights flickered. Just for a moment, but everyone saw it. Power irregularities, the one thing that should never happen on a starship. Engineering, Vren called out over the ship-wide comm. Report status. The chief engineer's voice came back immediately. Captain, we've got problems down here. The main reactor is stable, but we're seeing cascade failures in secondary systems. Power distribution nodes are dropping offline one by one. It's like something is attacking our computer networks. Something clicked in Vren's mind. Not something. Someone. Kelthrin, those electromagnetic pulses from the human fleet. Could they be carrying a digital payload? Some kind of invasive code? She worked her console frantically. Yes, sir. Now that I'm looking for it, I can see it. The pulses contain embedded data streams. Very sophisticated, very subtle. They've been probing our systems every time they wash over us, looking for vulnerabilities in our computer architecture. A virus? Dorvan asked. More than that, Preethus said. He had pulled up his own analysis. This is military-grade electronic warfare. The humans have been infecting our systems gradually, building up access layer by layer. They've probably been doing it since we first got within range of their fleet. Since the beginning. They had known from the beginning. Can we purge the infection? Vren demanded. I'm trying, sir, Kelthrin said. But it's adapting faster than I can isolate it. Every time I close one vulnerability, it finds another route. This code is learning. It's using some kind of adaptive algorithm. Artificial intelligence. The humans were using AI warfare systems against them. More warnings. The cascade of failures was accelerating. Navigation showed critical errors now. Weapon systems were completely offline. Life support was switching to backup systems. Even the helm was becoming sluggish and unresponsive. Captain, I'm losing attitude control, the helmsman reported. The ship isn't responding to my commands properly. Vren made his decision. All hands prepare for emergency jump to FTL. We're getting out of here. Telson, plot a course back to Dominion space. Maximum speed. Trying, sir, Telson said. His hands moved desperately across his controls. The nav computer keeps crashing. I can't get a stable coordinate lock. Then do it manually. Use the backup systems. Use a slide rule if you have to. Just get us a course. But even as he gave the orders, Vren knew it was too late. The human attack, because that's what this was, an attack, had been too well planned, too thorough. They hadn't just detected the silent observer. They had been systematically dismantling the ship's capabilities from the moment the Korthax vessel had entered their scanning range. Communications are down, Salira reported. I can't establish a link to High Command. The quantum encryption is completely corrupted. No communications. They couldn't warn the Dominion. Couldn't tell High Command that the humans possessed electronic warfare capabilities far beyond anything in Korthax intelligence reports. The bridge lights flickered again. This time they stayed dim. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in a red glow. Primary power distribution has failed, engineering reported. We're running on batteries now. Maybe 4 hours of life support remaining. 4 hours. Vren looked around his bridge. His crew stared back at him with growing fear in their eyes. They were professionals. They were trained for crisis situations. But this was beyond anything they had prepared for. Engineering, can you isolate the infected systems? Create a firewall? We've tried, Captain. The infection is everywhere. It's in the main computer, the backups, even the independent systems that should be air-gapped. Somehow it jumped across physical isolation barriers. I've never seen anything like it. Because the humans had technology beyond Korthax understanding. They had weapons that didn't fire missiles or energy beams. They had weapons that attacked through code and data, invisible and unstoppable. Vren thought about all the intelligence reports he had read, all the assessments that called humanity primitive and backward, all the confident predictions that the Korthax Dominion would easily dominate human space when the time came for conquest. All of it was wrong. Catastrophically wrong. The humans weren't primitive. They were advanced beyond Korthax comprehension. They didn't just have better ships and weapons. They had better everything, and they had been hiding that fact, letting the other species in the galaxy think they were weak and helpless. Why? What was their plan? Captain, Kelthrin said quietly, the human fleet is changing course. They're turning toward us. Vren looked at the tactical display. It was flickering and distorted, but he could see enough. The massive human fleet was indeed turning. Not the whole formation, just a small detachment. 3 ships breaking away from the main group, coming straight for the silent observer. Distance? Vren asked. 200,000 kilometers in closing. Sir, at their current speed, they'll be here in 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Vren's mind raced through options. They couldn't run. The engines were barely functional. They couldn't fight. The weapons were offline. They couldn't hide. The humans obviously knew exactly where they were. They were helpless. All crew, Vren said over the ship-wide comm. His voice was steady despite everything. This is the captain. We have been detected and engaged by the human fleet using electronic warfare systems. Our ship has been compromised. We are unable to escape or defend ourselves. He paused. This was the hardest part. The part every captain dreaded. Prepare for possible boarding or capture. Destroy all classified materials. Wipe all computer cores using emergency protocols. Do not allow any intelligence to fall into human hands. The crew moved to comply. They pulled data chips from consoles and fed them into disintegrators. They activated purge protocols that would erase computer memory down to the quantum level. 23 cycles of reconnaissance data. Gone. The silent observer's entire operational history. Gone. Better that than let the humans have it. Captain, Prethus said. The old scientist had left his station and approached Vren. May I speak freely? Always. We underestimated them. The entire Dominion underestimated them. These humans. They're not a minor species stumbling into galactic politics. They're a major power that's been hiding their true capabilities, and we've been blind to it. Why would they hide? Vren asked. What's their strategy? Prithis shook his head. I don't know, but I think we're about to find out, and I think the Dominion is in serious danger. The systems continued failing. One by one, the ship's functions went dark. Environmental controls, sensors. Even the artificial gravity began to fluctuate, making everyone grab onto their stations for support. Human ships are at 50,000 kilometers, Kelthrin reported. They're slowing down, moving into position around us, surrounding them. The silent observer was caught. After 23 cycles of successful operations, Vren's ship was finally caught. Can we see them? Vren asked. Visual? Dorvin managed to get the external cameras working. The main view screen flickered to life, showing the void of space, and there, illuminated by their own running lights, were 3 human warships. They were beautiful in a terrible way. Sleek and deadly, covered in sensor arrays and weapon batteries. Each ship was larger than the silent observer. They moved with perfect precision, coordinating their positions to create a triangular formation around the Korthax vessel. They're hailing us, Salira said. Audio only. They're using standard galactic protocols. Vren straightened his uniform. Even in defeat, he would maintain his dignity. Put them through, the comm crackled. Then a voice spoke. Human. The words were filtered through a translation system, but the tone was clear. Calm, professional, almost friendly. Korthax vessel. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Republic ship Vigilant. We've been tracking your surveillance for the past 3 days. Your stealth technology is impressive, but not quite good enough. Vren closed his eyes. 3 days. They had known from the beginning, the human captain continued. Your ship's systems have been disabled through non-lethal electronic countermeasures. You are not in danger. I repeat, you are not in danger. We have no intention of harming you or your crew. Then what do you want? Vren asked. There was a pause. Then the human spoke again. We want you to deliver a message to your high command. Can you do that? Our communications are destroyed. We'll repair them. Limited functionality. Enough to send 1 transmission. Will you deliver our message? Vren looked around his bridge. His crew watched him, waiting for his decision. What choice did they have? What's the message? Tell your leaders this, Captain Chen said. The Terran Republic knows about the Korthax invasion fleet assembling at Rally Point Theta. We know about your plans to intercept our ships at the Omega Cluster. We know about your strategic assessments and conquest protocols. Impossible, That information was classified at the highest levels. How could the humans know? Tell them, Chen continued, that we are not invading. This fleet is a diplomatic mission. We're heading to the Omega Cluster to establish formal relations with the Korthax Dominion. We come in peace, Vren almost laughed. A fleet of 150 warships, each one capable of destroying multiple Korthax vessels. That was one hell of a diplomatic mission. But also tell them this. Chen's voice grew harder. If they attack us, if they make the mistake of starting a war based on false intelligence and mistaken assumptions, we will defend ourselves. And the Dominion will learn exactly how primitive humanity really is. The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge. For a long moment no one spoke. Then Kelthrin said softly, "Captain, I'm getting system restarts. The humans are releasing our computers. Communications are coming back online." True to their word, the humans were giving them back enough functionality to send a message home. Vren sat down in his command chair. He suddenly felt very old and very tired. Selira, open a channel to High Command. Priority Alpha. Maximum encryption. Channel open, sir. Vren took a deep breath. High Command. This is Scout Captain Vren of the Silent Observer. We have made contact with the human fleet. Request immediate abort of all military operations. I repeat, abort all military operations. He paused, choosing his next words carefully. Words that would change everything the Dominion thought they knew about humanity. The humans are not our enemies, but they could be. And if we make them our enemies, we will lose. Message ends, he closed the channel. Around him, his crew remained silent. Through the view screen, they could see the 3 human warships. Beautiful, deadly, completely in control. The Silent Observer had found the human fleet. They had gathered intelligence. They had done their job. But in doing so, they had discovered a truth that would shake the Korthax Dominion to its foundations. Humanity was not primitive. Humanity was not weak. Humanity had been watching and waiting, building their strength while letting everyone else think they were helpless. And now, whether through diplomacy or war, the galaxy was about to learn what humans were truly capable of. But in doing so, they had discovered a truth that would shake the Korthax Dominion to its foundations. Humanity was not primitive. Humanity was not weak. Humanity had been watching and waiting, building their strength while letting everyone else think they were helpless. And now, whether through diplomacy or war, the galaxy was about to learn what humans were truly capable of. The bridge lights flickered one more time, then stabilized. The humans had finished their repairs. The Silent Observer had power again, had communications again, had hope again, but Vren knew that nothing would ever be the same. The age of Korthax dominance was over. The age of humanity had begun. In the darkness of space, the 3 human warships maintained their position around the Korthax scout vessel. Not threatening, not attacking,